What's up, everyone? Happy April Fool's Day. The 1st of April is here. I was contemplating which April Fool's Day film I wanted to cover. Now, I feel like the natural go to is 1986's April Fool's Day. Great movie, super fun, but I think there's a movie better than that got its wider release in 1986 as well. So 40 years for that one, too. It did debut in 1985 and it's listed as 1985 on IMDb, but it really got it released in America in 1986. I know I've seen 86, thrown around for it for years, and it actually says 86 on the little film shirt the shirt from the film I have right here. If you know Doddsville High School, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Slaughter High from 1985-86. And this one is super underrated to a degree. I feel like the people that know and love it and revere this film as a great slasher from the mid 80s. But there is definitely a segment of people that I feel like don't talk about this movie enough. It doesn't get enough love. As far as the pantheon of slasher films, the subgenre of horror for slasher films, this is top tier. This is up there with My Bloody Valentine. This is up there with The Final Chapter. This is up there with Halloween, Scream, whatever you want to call it. Halloween's so big, though, it's almost hard to consider that subgenre to slasher. It is. It's 100% a slasher, but it's so big that it's bigger than the subgenre, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm thinking way too hard about it. But Slaughter High from 1985-6 is super underrated. And there's a little bit of lore behind this. So this film was mostly filmed in England. I think in London too. So there was a lot of actors and actresses from England that were portraying American accents, and you can kind of tell for the most part. There was one actress in it who was actually from Texas, and she was trying to hide that, but it sounded like it was a British accent coming through at some points, but it was really her Southern accent, and people thought that she was the most obvious one, which is funny because she's the only one from America and they're portraying American teenagers in 1986. It's also hilarious that Carolyn Monroe's in it, and Carolyn Monroe is supposed to be playing like a teenager. She's supposed to be playing like a 17, 18-year-old, 19 if she failed, sophomore year or something. She's 35 when they filmed this. She's 35 years old, and I think some of the other people were in their late 20s as well. But the cast, albeit the acting is a little goof, it comes off like really fun. And this is a classic revenge story. It takes place on April Fool's Day, April 1st. And it's about these kids who are bullying this one nerdy classmate named Marty. And they pretty much the bullying is like bullying's like knocking a kid's books, getting your books knocked down, shoved in a locker, things like that. These kids go a little extra. They convince the kid to strip nude like he's gonna sleep with Carolyn Monroe's character, and then they take pictures of him. They dip him upside down naked in the toilet to give him a swirly. The one kid ends up like messing with his beaker and his science chemical bullshit and ends up causing, a fire to erupt in his science room while he's there alone. And then he spills like nitric acid all over his face and he blows up, and the kid's super scarred. And fast forward, these kids are getting invited to a high school reunion. And little did they know, it is indeed Marty who is invited them all here for them to be reminded about what they did to him and his character. And obviously, slashing ensues. People start dying. Some good, creative, fun deaths. Something else about this film is Harry Manfredini, who did the classic Friday the 13th score, many others, but notably the Friday the 13th score mastermind. Harry Manfredini did the score for Slaughter High. Now, this score is very 80s, and it's very memorable. I think about this score all the time. The doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. If you know the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And then it actually like morphs into a song that's that was written for the film, I think. But this movie has so much interesting stuff behind it because one of the marketing posters says, from the creators of Friday the 13th. Sean Cunningham had nothing to do with this. Victor Miller had nothing to do with this. It was directed by three guys. Three guys. Now, I've heard of two guys directing. I've never heard of three guys directing. If you know any films that had three directors, let me know, because I can't think of any off the top of my head. But this movie was directed by George Dugdale, Mark Ezra, and Peter Litton. So three guys directed it. Three guys wrote it. Harry Manfredini did the score, but one of the promo posters says from the creators of Friday the 13th. And the only guy I could see that was linked in any way to the Friday the 13th film, besides Harry Manfredini, who did the score for both of these films, is Stephen Minasian. So Stephen Minasian is not listed on the Friday the 13th IMDb at all. He is listed as a financier on the Camp Crystal Lake Memories documentary. I don't know if he helped finance maybe the original film and he was just an uncredited producer, or if he was just a producer in the Camp Crystal Lake thing. He had something to do with Friday the 13th. He had to have, because there's no way that he used the tag of, from the creators of Friday the 13th with just Harry Manfredini being the only carryover from Friday the 13th to Slaughter High. Anyway, George Dugdale, one of the three men who directed this, actually went on to secretly date Caroline Munro during the filming of this movie and actually married her and stayed with her until his death in 2020. So they met on the set, I think, or right around then, and they dated, married, had kids, and they were together until his death in 2020. So that's pretty wild. Little Caroline Munro lore for you. Something else that's super tragic about this film is the gentleman who plays Marty in this, the bullied kid turned jester slasher in this movie, Slaughter High, actually died of an intentional drug overdose in 1984. This film was filmed in 1984, and he died in 1984 before the film's release. So, and I think it was Mark Ezra, one of the three directors, actually had to do some stand-in shots for reshoots wearing the jester mask as a stand-in for him, because and his name was Simon Scudamore. He had passed away shortly after filming. And if you see the bullying scenes in this, it makes you think, was he not in the right mental state and went through this traumatic experience of filming some of these messed up scenes? Because they're not crazy. They're not different from other things we've seen of similar movies of the time. But if you're not in the right headspace and you go through something like this, that was always the first thing I thought, because me and Brian Tyler, BT, who you've heard on the podcast. If you don't know the podcast, go check it out. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, Sight and Sound Podcast, Heart Guide Media. Search it, you'll find it. Link in the bio as well, or in the description. But what's interesting is he unfortunately died of an intentional drug overdose. His mother, though, reassured the filmmakers that this was a highlight towards the end of his life. He was excited about being in this film and doing this film. And he actually couldn't film weekends because he was teaching and tutoring for underprivileged kids or something like that. The guy just seemed like he was, had the right head on his shoulders from all accounts that I could find. And it's really tragic that he succumbed to an intentional drug overdose. Really such a bummer, especially because there's so many fans of this movie now, and you don't really see any of the actors or anybody really doing any conventions. I've never seen, besides Caroline Munro, I've never seen anyone from this film do a convention that I've been to. And I've been going to conventions for 16, 17 years. Almost 20 years, and I've never seen anybody besides Caroline Munro at a convention. And, you start thinking man, if this guy would have not taken his own life, he would have seen he would have went on to do more. Could he have been a great actor? Could he, you deal with this with any death, what could have been, especially at a young age. I think he was 26 or 28. This guy was super young. It was such a bummer because he is great in this. He plays the character of Marty so well. The scorned, vengeful Marty is And the Jester mask. The mask in this film is super underrated. I love this. And you can see it on the shirt. It's like an old man Jester mask. It's so sick. And this is an early Gutter Garb shirt. Super early. I think I got this in Jesus, I don't know, 2018, 2019. I had to bust it out. I've been selling shirts, all the shirts that I have. I've been getting rid of them because they've just been sitting in totes and not worn for years and years and years. I won't get rid of this one though; it's too sick, and I love Slaughter High, and perfect to wear today on April Fool's Day. Go figure. That I actually had. Like, I totally forgot that I had this shirt too. I found it over the last weekend, and I was just like, "Hey, perfect. I'm gonna wear this for the old video and on April Fool's Day." Slaughter High, though, I feel like a lot of people talk about April Fool's Day, but Slaughter High is super, super underrated. It's goofy. It's not going to blow you away. Cinematography isn't like anything that's going to blow you away. The story is, a pretty simple, basic vengeful minded bully scorned, seeking revenge and killing his bullies. It's a very cut and dry basic story, but I love it. I love the cut and dry. I like stuff you don't have to think about. You can just sit back and enjoy. It's a popcorn film. There isn't some twist where Marty ends up being a witch at the end. And witches are sick, but not everyone needs to be a witch at the end of every movie. Hereditary, Weapons, and those aren't bad films. I liked Weapons a lot. Hereditary, I could take or leave. I watched it once and I watched it twice, and I just have little revisitation with certain films, especially newer films. But this one I love revisiting every year around April Fool's Day. It's super, obviously the tragic death of the Simon Scudamore, who plays Marty, is so it just bums me out. It just bums me out so much that he's not around to see the fandom, especially because, he was obviously in a deep state of depression. Man, it's such a bummer. But I hope that anybody involved with this film knows that myself, friends, love this film, and there is a following for it. And Vestron put out this nice Blu-ray, the collector series Vestron video release in 2017, I think it was. I think it was 2017. I can't remember. It was either 2017 or 2018. Yeah, so this was 2017, and great release, some special features, probably the best we're ever going to see it. You don't need to see, this is super low quality, low budget, and that's the way it should be seen. You don't need to see this in 4K, and probably see stuff you don't want to see. But man, Slaughter High is so much fun. It's my favorite April Fool's movie, and now 86 for some reason was huge for April Fool's movies. We had April Fool's Day in 86. This came out in America in 86, is officially credited as 85, but in America it was seen in 86. And the following year, in 87, it actually got put back into theaters, and I think it made $90,000 or something like that, I read. So it made a little bit of money here and there. On a re-release too in 87, you're talking almost 3 years after Simon Scudamore unfortunately took his life. And it's such a bummer because it has legs as far as the fandom goes. And I remember seeing this cover on a VHS cover, seeing that cover, and I never rented this. I saw this on TNT one night late 90, early 2000s, probably early 2000s, like 2000, 2001, something like that. Like on a weeknight too. I remember waking up and couldn't fall back asleep, and it was I don't know, 3:30 or something, and it was on TNT, and I just watched it until I had to get up and get ready for school, in the early 2000s, and discovered it then and have loved it since. I didn't rent this one at the video store, and I didn't see it wasn't shown on any television that I was watching at the time. I never saw this on HBO or Cinemax or Showtime or anything like that. Always saw the cover and always thought it was cool. Never rented it. I don't know why. Not sure why. But yeah, Slaughter High, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Unfortunately, there's that tragic aspect of Marty, one of the leads, and it not being with us anymore, never being able to see the fandom for Slaughter High. But Slaughter High, if you have not seen it, if you've seen April Fool's Day, there is a little bit of similarities in some aspects. April Fool's Day, I think, is probably a better shot film, looks better, better acting. But this one just has a charm, as they all, low budget films just have a certain charm. And Carolyn Monroe, so you can't go wrong there. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Slaughter High. You can get this probably relatively cheap on eBay or something. It's probably you can probably still get it on Amazon or something like that too. Not without probably without the slipcover. You probably have to pay a little bit of that, a little bit extra for that on eBay. But yeah, if you've liked this video, give us a like, hit the subscribe button, check, hit the bell notification, do the whole gimmick, all 3 gimmicks or whatever. I truly appreciate everybody that's followed the channel so far. I think we're at like 60 something subscribers, and with no, like, I don't pay for ads or anything like that. Like, I put out a video, I get a follower or two, and it's been really fulfilling for me. I don't do this like to get any kind of adulation or to even like, my goal isn't to like, obviously my goal is for there to be a following because I want to interact with fellow horror fans, fellow film fans, fellow music fans, everything that I'm talking about on the channel. And we talk about a lot. We cover a lot of ground. Genre film music, that's the game. And I love just interacting with people and hearing people's opinions. So every single person that has subscribed so far, thank you endlessly. It's super appreciated. And it's super fun to see every time I put out a video, I get another follower. And just that natural homegrown growth is really fun to experience, for the first time, since, launching the podcast, the podcast starting 9 years ago. I'll put the link for that down below. You can check out old podcast episodes. We've got a couple hundred. And yeah, it's super fun to be engaging with you guys. And thank you so much for following. Pass it along. Yeah, once we hit like maybe 100 subscribers, I know I see all these other channels, they got thousands and thousands of subscribers. It's going to take me a while to get there. If I ever get there, it's going to take me a while, but I'm having fun. That's the only thing that matters. I hope you're having fun watching some of the content that I'm putting out there. And if not, scroll on by. You ain't got to be here. The ones that are here, I appreciate you. Thanks for the subscribe. And yeah, more videos to come, but this was a fun one talking about Slaughter High. And if you haven't seen it, go check it